Deshaun put the flag at the top of the mountain and proved that we could do it. You know, it was the only thing we had not done in my time here, in 7 years at that time, was win it all. So he set that tone, and then we come back a couple years later, and Trevor took the baton and led us back.
We know who Stephen A. picked. Yeah, you can hide.
Yeah.
You can run, but you can't hide. We're going to take a quick break
I'm hiding because I picked against Clemson. When you look at him right now, he's completing a little bit better than 61% of his passes. He's got 5 interceptions in 5 games.
Yep.
Obviously, he's human and what have you. But talk to me about the Trevor Lawrence that went up against Alabama in the national championship game and played lights out and looked absolutely spectacular to the Trevor Lawrence that we have seen this year. What is the difference in your mind?
He's better.
Okay.
He's smarter. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's faster. He's an unbelievable leader.
You like that?
So it's really that simple. You know, again, it's like a horse race, and you're halfway around the track, and you got all these people, and you know you're talking about all these people out here in the front. But just trust me, that old horse, he can run, and he'll be right where he needs to be when it matters. He is unbelievable in every regard, and when the season plays out, we'll be having this conversation about what a great player he is.
I just want you to be very, very careful about what you're saying, Coach, because you know what? You're talking about him and glowing about him as well. You should. He won your national championship, but you're talking about him like you talked about Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson is a special man. I know how you feel about him, Mr. Deshaun Watson, Michael Jordan in the same sentence. That was you. So are you speaking in these glowing terms in similar fashion? Is that what you're trying to say?
I didn't know if I'd ever have another guy like Deshaun. And he's everything Deshaun was. Everything, the intangibles, the commitment, the preparation, the poise, he's all of those things, but bigger. He's 6'6", and he's stronger.
And he was better at a younger age because he was a rookie. Coach, I want to ask you something. I want to ask you, like, you talked about certain moments that told you stuff.
You asked me the question.
I didn't expect that answer.
Well,
I thought you were going to say something like, hey, listen, there's only one Deshaun Watson. I can't believe what I just heard.
And more.
Coming up to join you, honey, said Fred Sanford. I couldn't believe you just said that.
I was with Deshaun as a sophomore. I'm with Trevor as a sophomore, and all I can tell you is he's everything Deshaun was, just 6'6" and stronger.
I want to talk about a moment from earlier this season, Coach.
And he's got, you know, long hair.
Well, he got Deshaun beat in that regard.
But Deshaun, what makes Deshaun special, he's got the skill set, but it's who he is as a person, his humility, his leadership, his commitment, his preparation. The kid graduated in 2.5 years. That's exactly what Trevor's going to do. It's just his leadership. It's not about him. And those are things that you can't coach.
I want to get your comment on this moment that you talked about, fourth quarter, game on the line. I've never seen him in that situation. The moment that stands out to me so far this season was his tackle in the open field after he threw an interception.
How about that?
To me, that showed me a lot. I hadn't seen that before. Ooh, Trevor Lawrence, bad throw. What's going on? And then he makes a football play. As a head coach, you're like, no, don't try it, right? In the your prize quarterback, or did you like what you saw?
Oh, my gosh, I loved it. Listen, you know what? That's leadership, and it's not what happens. It's how you respond to what happens. You know, he didn't pound, he didn't go, and it wasn't, that interception wasn't his fault.
Right. I said
but he went and he just took the guy out. But you know what happened? Our defense goes out there, has a goal line stand, and gets the interception. They get 0 points from the 1 yard line.
So do you think that when you say leadership, that sets the tone?
Absolutely.
Look, the quarterback's making the tackle in the open field.
Absolutely.
Looking back at it, was there a real fundamental underlying difference between your national championship teams, like the character of those teams, and the teams that didn't quite get there? Is it sometimes just the way the ball bounces? And how would you apply that kind of way of looking at it to this team this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, you got to be good enough. Not every team's good enough to win the national championship, and that's okay. That's what. And people get mad at me. Our goal is not to win the national championship. We have 5 goals, and that's not one of them.
What are they?
It's to win the opener. It's to win the division. It's to win the state championship, to win the ACC championship, to win the closer. Because we could go undefeated, and somebody may not even vote us to go play for the national championship. We don't control that. So winning a national championship is a byproduct of what can happen if we achieve our goals, but also we're committed. And so I've had great teams. Sometimes you have a great team. Maybe a player gets hurt. You know, does that mean that everybody else isn't committed? They didn't give everything they had? You know, that 2014 team, #1 team in the country, Deshaun got hurt. We beat Oklahoma. You picked against us in that one, too.
I don't recall that. That wasn't true.
And we beat them 40-6.
I did not pick your Oklahoma to beat y'all.
I got a big memory. But anyway.
That's not one of them.
So that team was great. Those guys were amazing. And we didn't win the national championship. That's one of the best teams I've ever coached.
I got a question. Paul Feinbaum, I got to bring him up again. Bring him up again. Paul Feinbaum, to his credit, who wanted to be here but couldn't. Here's the question that I have for you, because you just brought up something else that's very, very important. You don't get to pick and choose whether you're going to be one of those Final Four teams. You could go undefeated and still end up not being picked to be in the Final Four. Are you worried at all that the reigning defending national champions could go undefeated and not have an opportunity to defend your crown in the college football players because they don't put you in there? You worried about that?
To steal your word, that's blasphemous. Isn't that what you say? Isn't that what you say, Max?
He says it.
Listen.
I thought there were two of you.
Listen.
I pick you.
Let me tell you something. I don't worry 2 seconds. I tell my team, if you sit around and worry about the things that you don't control, those things control you. So I don't worry about that second. I'm worrying about beating Florida State. I'm worrying about trying to, get Trevor to play up to y'all's standards that y'all all want him to play at.
You too. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.